Let's go. Hello and welcome to We Need to Talk. My name is Abnel Suaserbo. Today the show is gonna be fire and it's gonna be very exciting because this topic I think is a little touchy, especially depending on what generation that you're from. So I have with me my guest today. We have to my right Pastor Eric, and then to my left we have Amma. So they all share their greetings and then we'll get the show going. So Pastor Eric.
All right. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm back to Osua TV and I'm ready for us to go. Greetings to all precious ones in the house of fire. God bless you.
All right, thank you, Pastor Amma.
Hello, guys. It's Amma back in the building. I'm here at Owusua TV for We Need to Talk, and we are about to talk.
All right. All righty. So before we start talking, just enjoy the short clip and then we will get our conversation going. All right. So yeah, the clip is being prepared. So our topic today is going to be about respect and discipline. And so as we're about to talk about this, I'm very sure that this will have different meanings to different people because of obviously the generations that they are from and what the norms were during that time. And so I hope we all be part of this and then contribute, comment, questions, and then share it as well so other people can join. I know when you hear that word, we need to talk, everybody always think, oh, am I in trouble? But this is not necessarily for you to be in trouble. It's for us to discuss, it's for us to learn, and it's for us to progress. So today, that's exactly what we're going to do on We Need to Talk. We are about to watch this short clip. And once that clip comes on, we're going to have our conversation. Pastor is going to speak from his generation, and then Amma will talk to us about her generation. I believe, Pastor, what generation are you from? You're baby boomers, right? Uh-huh. And Amma, you are
X, I believe.
Gen X.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm a millennial. So we have three different generations with three different opinions or point views because of how life is or was during
Greetings,
our
we have the issues together.
Okay, so we'll see what the baby boomers say, we'll see what the Gen X say, and then we'll see what the millennials say. But I'm sure in all three, the best of us yet is the millennials because we got to see the baby boomers, like a bit of them, and then we experience ourselves, and now we are getting a taste of the Gen X as well. So it was like we came in and we had to experience our parents and what was a normal thing to them. We were trying to get a grasp of it. Whilst we were doing that, then boom, the Gen X came, and now we are like, what is this? This is not what we were taught. So it's really interesting when you look at life from those perspectives, especially from the different generations. You see that things has
My
definitely.
generation was the best, you know.
You think so?
Yeah.
Why is that?
So you're going to see it because by the time we finish watching the clip, we're going to go through, you're going to see it.
I don't know.
You don't think so?
I don't
You think
so.
yours is the best?
Yeah, the 90s.
You
Well, I'm not 90s, but like
the millennials
yeah,
were
yeah, the millennials, yeah.
true.
90s and
True.
2000s, baby. Yep.
But I think it's all nice. Like we all come with varying ideas and varying opinions, but the best thing is for us all to learn. So the video is being prepared on the way. But I mean, what were some of the common things in your generation that you loved, like the past times that you loved during your time?
Well, thank you so much. One of the things is that, the way I was taught about life in my generations and what I came to see was that um, you are taught that the blessings is
I
more
wanted to
important
ask
than
Maya her views
cares.
on interracial
And then
relationships.
money was not the
Thank you. And first,
priority.
Mm,
Legacy was the priority.
mm,
Okay. So the blessings and leaving a legacy and having a good name is
mhm,
better than riches. So
Mhm.
these things were taught. This is what some of the things the core values that they infuse into your system.
yeah.
Okay, that's a so with that, whenever you are doing something, and apart from that, also a family was very important. That is making sure keeping the family intact. So we talk about socialization, not selfishness. You understand? Making sure that you live a social life where you live at peace with all men.
Mhm.
So these are some of the things. So that is why anything that concerns a child, another person's daughter or son, another parent can correct you and then come to your parents and say, I saw your daughter doing this thing and maybe I beat him up or maybe I stopped him. You
Beat
understand?
him up.
That's right. And your parent will not support you because they think that the fellow did right. So these are some of the things
That were not.
that was nice that you could live with.
Okay.
That's right. That's right.
Okay. All right. So if I have any millennials, just give a shout out there. If we have the Gen Zs, let's see you represent the baby boomers. But I think before we get this intense, serious conversation going, just to loosen ourselves up, we all share like our favorite pastime experience. So I'll start. So for us, millennials, one of the things that was really famous or popular back then was MySpace. This was, I think that was the beginning of social media, honestly. MySpace, it gave us the opportunity to go online and be very creative. You create your profile, put pictures, select the songs that you like, your interests, videos, anything that you could do. And that really was the beginning of us all getting exposed out there. And then we also had, what else did we have? I guess, let me just think about back home. We always used to go outside and play, that was a big thing. Like when we come back from school, or we were all looking forward to coming back from school because we knew that after school, we were all going to get to meet with our friends, share what happened at school, and then just enjoy each other's company. But that's something that like the subsequent generations don't get to. So what was some of your favorite pastime, baby boomers?
Well, I think like as you're saying, I mean, school, for me, like even when we talk about school, many people couldn't even go afford to school and all that. So it's like education was was important though, but we felt like we saw a difference between the tree we see a few nyansa in the school
Mm-hmm.
nyansa. So the
School knowledge.
wisdom, the school knowledge and the book knowledge. That's it.
Yeah.
The book knowledge and the house. So the way you were trained, training was more important than installing in you discipline and character was a priority more than going for the book knowledge. Because I felt like you can have the book knowledge and you might not have wisdom or knowledge to handle things. You get what I'm saying? That is why even if you look at the past, like our generation, because we're more of traditional set up people, chieftaincy was so important. And to be able to appoint somebody into a position was not about the qualification the fellow possesses. It is about how he have distinguished himself with good character in the society before he could be appointed. Because as I say, okay, this person deserves this throne, you have to give it to him, or that's and that is why it helps even in marriages. Because at the end, if you don't have a good character, no family or nobody is going to recommend you, allow you to enter into his family to marry the daughter or marry the son. So good character in society and how you comport yourself was so important. Because even what you do was not going to affect you alone. It was going to affect your parents. Because the first thing the question is the tree will ask you, Juan Benny, whose daughter is this?
Mm-hmm.
Juan Benny, whose son is this?
Mm-hmm.
So it was not about what you are doing. The moment you are doing, they ask you, which home do you come from? And that is why some people actually say, penny picture new fee. You say there's no any mature person's picture in your house where they work. Because if it does, then you're going to leave a legacy. So these are some of the things. We understood that whatever you do was going to affect your entire generation.
There's, I think, one thing about baby boomers, they took life very seriously. So, even when I asked for him to share his past favorite experience, see how he was diving into wisdom and not
Yeah.
talking about the fun things that.
Yeah,
But is
yeah.
there anything fun that you
I
guys
feel like
did
it was very like strict,
and structured? Yeah.
structured. Yeah.
Did you guys have fun?
You do have
What
fun.
What were you guys doing to have fun? You didn't have social media and you didn't have
Okay, like
internet,
the
so.
community,
Mhm.
like you could sit down. That's why we can sit down and talk about the Anansi story, where you have an elder, you
Mm.
gather around it, Then they
And
tell you
do
a lot of stories. You
storytelling.
give storytelling. You gather by the fireside and you
Mm.
do a lot of things. That's why the females will do the ampe and all those stuff. You get it was still in the community where you do things
Together.
together.
Okay.
You understand? So if you don't distinguish yourself, nobody will allow your daughter or son to even sit with you or play with you.
Okay, they're very serious. So give
Very
them that.
serious.
So let's
Yeah.
talk about your generation. What are some of the favorite pastimes or some of the fun things that you guys like it came during you guys' time that you enjoyed?
Yeah, for me, like growing up, because I came to the States at a young age.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, growing up here in the States, at first, like I didn't know, like from transitioning, it was really hard. So I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know how to go about that. But the more like I like went to
Stayed.
school
Mm-hmm.
and I talked to people, the more I got more accustomed.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it was just like what you said, like playing after school. That was number one. Every time we were looking forward to playing after school.
Right.
And just like we would be outside all day from morning to night, dusk to dawn, like that's what we were doing, or even after school. And then also for me, I guess watching TV.
That was one of those favorite.
ABC and like those kids shows, like those were my favorite, like because like I just till this day I reminisce about it. I'm like, man, I wish I was back in those days because we would wake up early in the morning
Right.
and we'll eat our oatmeal and like
Go watch Cartoon Network.
yes, and go watch the cartoon and we just sit there and do nothing.
Ah.
And then it's just the best. And you just watch like your shows.
Right.
And then sometimes my parents will come and watch. My mom, she would love watching shows with
With
us.
you guys.
Oh, it was the best time. It's like you had no care in the world. You're just there doing
Not
so
anymore.
much. Oh, I miss it. The way I could go back in.
Okay. I guess we all like, in as much as sometimes we tend to see the negative side, there's always something positive there too. So we'll give it to you guys because in your generation, one of the things that really boomed out was internet and social media. Now that's a topic for another day, but that was something that emerged during
Yeah,
this time a lot.
definitely.
So now I believe that we're ready to show that clip, and after the clip, we're going to dive into our conversation. So please, if you go ahead and play that clip.
And first, I'm Miss Angelo.
Miss Angela.
Yes, ma'am. I'm not Maya. I'm 62 years old. I have lived so long and tried so hard that a young woman like you or any other you have no license to come up to me and call me by my first name.
Excuse me.
That's first. That's first. Also because at the same time, I am your mother, I'm your auntie, I'm your teacher, I'm your professor. You see?
You just told her that she should call you Ms. Angela. Is that part of the problem in this culture that we have? There's not enough discipline, there's not enough respect?
I only think that the children know only what we teach them. If there is something wrong in the generations, last two generations, which did not carry on the tradition, and I think this is true not just in the black community, this is true in the white community, in all the communities. We have not taken the children to our knees and told them the truth. Darling, here's the way it is.
You saw that? All right. So I hope we kind of watched the clip and or heard the voice. Basically, what had happened was if you're not familiar with Maya Angelou, she was a poet, she was a motivational speaker, she was a woman of her time. She did so much and contributed so much, especially to Black history. But she had an interview where a young lady uh, got up to ask a question and she addressed her as Maya. And Miss Angelo was saying that she does not have the license to address her with her first name because she's 62 and that young lady has not lived young enough basically to address her without any kind of salutation. So that brought us to the question, do we believe that there is enough respect and discipline in these subsequent generations? So we're going to let you go first because right now you're the youngest generation on this one. And then Pastor will go ahead and tell us from the baby boomers' point of view. And I'll chip in here and there because I think I can relate to both. So go ahead.
Okay, so we're going back to the video. I think I like listened to it or watched it previously. And the little girl, I feel like the little girl didn't mean to address her by her first name because she probably didn't know. And maybe like her parents didn't teach her like how to address an older person. So in my own perspective, I feel like it was a mistake on her. Like she didn't know and she just, just called her Maya because she thought that was the right thing to do. But regarding
Respect and discipline in your
yeah.
generation.
Honestly, I don't think it's there,
You don't think
especially
there's a
for our
difference?
generation,
Okay.
especially Gen Z. I've seen a lot of like disrespect or like not giving respect where it's due, especially to those who are older than us, who have, like who have been in like the traditional way of life and has tried to, show that to the younger generations. And I think the younger generation, they want to have their own mind. They don't want to be limited to what the baby boomers or the millennials think anymore, because a lot of them, they've had like families or like even parents who came from that strict and structured like background. Yeah, and they lived with that for a long time, like and then afterwards they've realized this is not something they want to continue to be under, yeah, or uphold. So they just want to be free from the shackles of like that structured environment. So, and I understand now, like they just want to have a peace of mind. They just want to be who they are and like say, oh, I can do anything that I want, that I don't want to be limited. Like this is my mind, this is what I think, this is my life, this is my body. I can do what pleases me and what makes me happy. So I think that's
your
yeah,
okay.
that's
Thank
fine.
you. I think you really hit on a lot, and you really do represent that generation very clearly because all the reasons that you gave behind it is exactly what you hear younger people say. So, Pastor, I know as you're here, you're just being filled with so much you want to spew out because that that gap between the two generation is huge, and everything is different. So please have the floor. Go ahead.
All right. That's good. I think that what I feel is I'll look at it one from a cultural point of view, depending on how the fellow different cultures in different places. So that is also play a major role. But there are some synonyms or some equals that you can't take it, no matter the cultural background, you can take it out from. Okay. Now, as I was growing when I was a kid, there used to be Ghana. There used to be a public transport. Those who have they used to call them city line or green line, right? Now it was for the government. Now, when you are a student and you and OSA, and you sit in such buses, if we are on the seat and an elder comes, even if it's free, you have to wake up so that he sits down because some of them because they were allowed to stand in. But this generation, he will tell you that he has paid for the seat and he will let the elder stand. Then he will sit on the chair. All this, the reason why I feel like is that we started with the issue of human rights. And now it has turned to human left. Because the right of people have crossed the line and we have abused that right to be left. So we spoke about human right and we never had check and balances to it. And because we didn't have the check and balances, people have gone extreme. The culture that I was grown from, I can't hand over something like this, my phone, with my left hand to an elder. That is totally wrong. But this generation, they'll just give it to Pastor Keke.
May I interject?
That's it. So
When you
from these are some of the things. Okay, Now, apart from that, that's as I said the intro, I said they spoke to us about blessings, leave a legacy, leave a good name, and all those. And then we got to know that it is not about money.
Mm.
But this generation don't have it like it's like we can do anything for money. Once I have money, or I can take care of myself. And so what? That is another thing. And money is not everything.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
So these are some of the things. That's where all these things. Okay, if you can be poor and have dignity, and you can be rich, there's a difference between popularity and honor. And this generation, people are popular, but they are not on it.
Mm.
That is where we lose it. So we become popular, we become famous, but we are not on it because we don't do the honorable things.
Mm.
So even when we get to positions, we don't care how I made the money. I can steal the government money. I can just get into how I can make the money. Once I have the money, that's how I show my cars and everything. You're showing all those things, but nobody will honor you. You can acclaim yourself as a king. So these are some of the things. So apart from all that, then even in the community, when you see an elder holding something that is heavy, your parent will tell you, help that elder. Carry the thing and take it to the house and go and help him so that he cannot. So by the time he gets home, he tells you, God bless you. And you are told that don't take money, but take the blessing. But this generation, we don't even know what is God blessing. We don't even know.
Mm.
Somebody want to help you, the first thing you want to do, how much are you giving me? That's right. So, so we're looking at money. I mean, we want to eat now. This generation, the reason why they taught us to look into the future. We were told that whatever you are doing is a seed you are planting. You will harvest it. So be careful about what you are doing. This generation don't know that. They want it now because we are in the microwave generation. And everything might be now. That is how churches are suffering. We want microwave miracle now.
Mm.
So this generation now, a course that used to take about maybe 7 years, this generation, somebody says, I want to do it within 3 weeks. So all these things, that's where this generation, there's a lack of respect and discipline. That's because you have to stay with your parent. They take you through. I remember even if you're a female, by the time you get into a stage, most of the cultures, you go through people teach you right. You're taught about how to handle yourself and other things. This generation, many people don't even know everything. The answers we want to go to Google and read it and get the answers there.
Mm.
But our generation, there were people, your parents will take you through it. They will teach you. They will lecture you because they believe that if you move out, whatever you do, it will affect them.
Reflect on them.
That is why, look at what, if you look at Bible, when Abraham wanted a wife for the son Isaac, he said the servant, go into my background, where I'm coming from. Don't marry from these Gentiles. And the family he got it, he said, no, this is the best family. When the servant got to the well, it took a lady that could feed and give water to the camels. And to feed a camel, it will take you, a camel takes about 50 gallons of water to one camel. And she was able to feed it. He didn't know it. And that was how he got a marriage. So this generation, that's why I feel like there are so many things we are lacking.
Mm.
That's there's so many things. And then we feel like, okay, we are equal, and so what? We are equal, and so it's my right. And it has become my left.
When Pastor was talking, you said you wanted to interject. So go ahead.
Yeah, because he was talking about how, when you're handing something to an elder,
Mhm.
you don't use your left hand, you use your right hand. And I know that's like just accustomed to our Ghanaian culture, but that's not like, or African culture, but that's not like the whole world. I'm not sure about other parts of like the country or other
The
parts of
world.
the world, yeah, how they do things. But I mean, in a sense, you can see how in different cultures there are those who upholds um, that structure, that strictness that they were taught, and not just in their culture, but they were taught as like while they were growing up as
The norms.
yeah, the norms and stuff, and like the values. So, but also I would like to say, like what Pastor was saying, I feel like he was, I mean, that's his experience because that's what he was taught. That's how he grew up. And back in Africa, that's like the culture and the norms and the values that they upheld. And I think a lot of the things now within our generation is, I guess, a lot of them are just exhausted and they're tired of having to, because they feel like they always have to please the older generation. And it's like if they don't do it well, if they mess up even a little bit, they are looked as degenerates or like, people who are like, you're nothing because
You can
you can't
you
uphold
can meet
that,
up that
yeah,
standard.
the standard and the honor that they're trying to say. So it can become a lot of pressure on the child. And it's like, if you want if you want your child to uphold these things, you have to, yeah, like the Bible says, you have to train up a child as the way they should go, so they do not apart from it. So I think there are ways to teach those like values to that child. But I mean, and also with patience and prayer too. I feel like a lot of the older generation, they're like, um they're not too understanding. It's like they don't want to come down to our level of understanding sometimes and understand where we're coming from as people of this type of generation, because the world changes. The world has changed in the past decade, and there's just so much going on. And so I think a lot of them, the older generation, they don't want to change because that's what they've known for years, for decades. Like that's what they've known, and that's how the world has been. And so that that can be kind of like hard to be able to step into the shoes of the other generations. So yeah, that's what I think is going on. And it is difficult because you try to let them understand, and they don't want it's like they don't, if even if they kind of see it, they still don't want to, because that's what they've known their entire lives and they don't know how to change it.
All right. You see, what is it is that it's not like they don't want to see or it's a pressure. No, it was clear.
If you watch the full clip or like the full video, she goes on to Miss Angela goes on to explain that you can't blame the children because I think there's one phrase that you always use, which is handing the baton over.
Yeah.
So if you're handing the baton over and you don't make sure that the person that you are handing that baton to understand the essence, the importance of that baton, and they take it lightly. Like if you try to hand me your phone right now and I don't know the value of that phone, I can tend to move myself away for you to drop it or take it and misuse it. So it is the responsibility of the parents or the older generation, and I'm not talking about the baby boomers. I'm talking about in general that it is the responsibility or the duty of the parents to train up. And I want to just say when you go to look at the meaning of discipline, it says is the practice of training people to obey.
Okay.
You see, and rules to obey rules or code of behavior using punishment to correct disobedience. So this really put that work on the parents or the generation ahead, that the next generation is a result of the previous generation.
I will.
You don't agree with that?
I don't want to agree.
You don't agree with that?
Because you see, you can force the horse to the riverside, but you can't force him to drink.
You can. But like she was saying, if that little girl knew that she was supposed to address an elderly as with some type of salutation, some type of honor, or something attached to the name, maybe she wouldn't have said it. She wouldn't have said it out there like that. You know, we are as a result of our nature and our nurture. In psychology, they teach us that the things that we see are the things that we pick. They are the things that become norms for us. So as parents are training up the child, it's not even about just telling them. And this goes on to the explanation of discipline goes on to say that you're training the child and then you also correct with punishment. So if you're training your child, like especially at the younger age, training them to, hey, don't say this. Like I've seen several parents out there, they're like, they're going to teach their children, right? They'll say, don't do this. And then the child will do it and they'll just laugh and say, oh, my baby, even when you say he shouldn't do it, he will do it. And take it lightly. So as we are doing that, we are kind of encouraging that behavior without that discipline or without that punishment. And so that child grows up and feel like that's a norm. And again, I think me and you have even had that conversation where, you know, here, like, it doesn't matter how big, honorable, old, or whatever you are, like, people see you and just address you like straight up, like, oh, hey, James. At work, somebody with like the CEO and they're addressing them, oh, hi, James. Oh, yeah, James was here this morning. Oh, yeah, Erica was there. Like, who is that? But like you rightfully said, in our culture,
That's what I'm saying.
it's not like that.
Good. You have to know where you are coming from. That is why you first of all cannot miss where you are coming from. Listen,
But the parents must be the ones to train the children to know where they are coming from, right?
there are some I'll blame the parents.
Okay.
I have a typical example of that.
Okay.
There's a friend pastor who visited before Amma comes in, and he went to a family house, right? Then he saw this, I think about 3 years boy or something, and he wanted to pet the boy, and that was in South Africa those days. And then the boy said, Fusek. Told the pastor that. Now that Fusek in South African language is used for an animal. Frokwaboa, like that.
Wow.
So the pastor, then the parent wanted to beat the boy. And my friend pastor said, no, don't do anything to him. This is the way you have lived with him. And you never corrected him. So he felt like, so I blame part of it to the parent. As you are saying, sometimes the same words we use there, that is the same place and all that. Like as you're saying, workplaces is normal. So I said, cultural difference is what I said. Most of this is accepted in some culture. That is good. But when you know where you are coming from, you can't lose it. Wontimi nyina wo nkyi. You must know that so that when you get into your people, you will not be a lost agent.
You know, be
Mhm.
lost.
Hwɛ a n'akyi adakɔ.
Okay. Now I don't know the English to that, but Amaya, so what's your sentiments to that before we kind of end this and continue next week? Whilst Pastor try to figure out the translation of that.
Well, I think it's just like respect is given where respect is due. So, I mean, I feel like a lot of the older generation, they want you to like come and respect them right then and there without even them showing you like, showing you that they
deserve
respect
it.
you. Yeah, like they deserve it. And so it can be very like it's because that's how like this generation we end up like being like, oh, like why should I even try to do this or do that when like you're not even trying to understand where I'm coming from or respect me as an individual. And then there are certain things where um yeah, when regarding like kids who are growing up, the parents should teach them and should train them because you can't just say like, oh, where they're coming from or where you have been, because back in Ghana, back in Africa, those were the ways. And I know now it's changed because a lot of the kids growing up back home, like social media has completely
Spoiled them.
yeah spoiled them and spoiled like a lot of the norms and the values that we upheld back in the day. And so it's like it's just spoiling the minds of the younger generation. I understand that too, but also we, like, the elder generation also has to understand, like, the world changes, and like, you can't just expect a child to see what you're doing or see how things are and pick up from it. That's just not how you should train a child, or how a child is supposed to just, you know, respect or do what the elder expects the child to do, or the younger generation to do, because now it's like the world is changing completely. And I feel like yeah, a lot of the elder generation, they just think that, oh, we're all like not wanting to learn, or we're not wanting to understand, or we just don't know what we're doing. It's not that. I mean, sometimes it's because we weren't taught how to do it. We weren't, trained properly. And sometimes it's like the pressure. There's so much pressure. It's like, even if you're trying to tell this child how to respect an elder, but you're doing it in a very negative way, so the child doesn't want to learn it at all. And so they take that on, and it becomes like a traumatic experience for them, where they don't want to do it at all, and they go and do their own thing. And that's how you get that domino effect. And they don't want to uphold any of the values and the norms that they were taught growing up, because that parent was abusive in some way, somehow, when it comes to how they want their child to be or things to be.
Okay.
So, yes.
Asta, were you like just taking it all in? Okay, we have 1 more minute, so you're gonna sum up. Amma will sum up, and we'll be done.
I think that I hear a lot, like I must say, pressure, and they hear that the pressure. I don't know what to call pressure. I will maybe probably next time she need to read, because I hear that word pressure, pressure also. And the elders, without not respecting. So it's like you are placing yourself in the equal like the elder. All right. Listen, when you have a responsibility, you look at it as a responsibility. You don't look at what you receive. Okay. Respect. It's like anything I hear this generation say, you know what I hear behind the decency must give me. Look, this is my responsibility. I'm doing my part. Whatever you want to do, you will leave a name for yourself. Okay? You will leave a name. Somebody else will be standing there and be saying that, well, look, I saw this daughter. She's really been trained the way she did it, but the way the man abused him. Okay? And then people will clap for you and say, wow, this person. Wow, she's so cultured the way she handled the issue. Okay. Do you know that maybe as you're sitting there, if I slapped you, not everybody would know, but your return,
Mm.
the revenge is what people are going to see. And people will say, why did you slap him? They say, slap me first, but you don't need to slap him. So your response to the elder is the worst one. That's the generation. The first thing is that I should not respond that way because I am not in the same equal with him. That's all. If you understand that, no matter how the fellow abuses you or something, if abuse you and you feel like you want to address him,
No,
go to an elder and tell him that this person abused him. I remember I told you a story.
not.
Maybe this is when this person abused me or this person did it, and I don't like it. You find a better way to handle it. But if you are going to face him or her and say, no, I must show, I must cut back or
Retaliate.
retaliate or something, yours will be shown. That's what people are going to get to know the retaliation of yours, not the other person.
Then what about the person who abused the person?
That is why I said you report him or take him to somebody to say,
But I'm not talking an abuse as in like physical abuse. I'm talking like mental and emotional
that
abuse.
is what I'm saying.
How a lot of like the elders can just, yell and
So tell to somebody. It
and
can be church or school or
be
anything.
aggressive.
Just go to the fellow
Mhm.
and say, maybe this person attitude. I remember there was a time, maybe I was in a meeting with you, remember?
Mhm.
And an elder, I mean, he's senior. He abused me under the meeting on 2 occasions. And I felt it. I said, oh my God. I could have retaliated in front of people. Okay. I kept mute. I answered, and after closing, I went to another elder to say, who's this fellow? His attitude.
Yeah.
I don't like it. Do you know that after doing that, God had to come and apologize to me?
I mean, yeah, that's valid. I'm talking in the sense of like children and parents
It's
too
not
as well.
I mean, not just
Because that's also builds up
you
the
can
generation that we're in
something.
too. Yeah.
Even if your parent do something to you, maybe in that instant you might
Yeah.
not do it. But maybe in the morning you can go to a parent and say, Daddy, yesterday you did this to me.
But sometimes they'll retaliate and be like, "Oh, I had to do that because you weren't listening to me. You're not trying to understand."
Sometimes they might not even,
Yeah, they're very
they might-
strict, and it's like,
no, sometimes they even want to defend their
yeah,
once you have spoken a certain truth to him or her, he knows that my daughter has spoken to me. Or my son has spoken.
some are not like that. Some are very hard-headed. They don't want to change.
No,
Eh,
no. It depends.
You
Use
know,
that strategy.
hold on.
Use that strategy.
I think
Okay.
you know how they say
Yeah.
the last wine is the best wine.
Okay.
And I want to like interpret that into this conversation. The deeper we go in, the deeper the conversation, the sweeter it is. And so we're gonna come to an end, and next week we'll join for part 2. But I really want to emphasize something that's just my observation. I think one thing that the older generation, the baby boomer generation, are known for. They are known for, and I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of backlash for this. They resist change with every fiber.
No. It
Yes,
depends on
you
what.
see,
no,
you see,
no.
it,
They have come to America and
it
still
doesn't
the
matter.
same.
It's not just the Africans. Like their generation, they are like
That's just
so resistant to change. They do not like that. And
Jews are still Jews. They live alone. Don't tell me Jews are still Jews. They don't even attend the other school. They are still Jews.
you see,
Don't even buy from them.
and they
Just let you
they
know.
don't like to accept the truth.
I'm just look at me. I'm trying to give you.
Pastor, I'm just giving my observation about the generation.
So you're becoming the judge. Forgive me.
No. Okay. And then let me tell you something about the younger generation. You know, it's so funny. Sometimes when we see ourselves, like when we see our reflection in somebody else, it's difficult for us to accept it, but we know within ourselves it's true.
Yeah.
And I think that some of the characteristic of even the Gen Z and Gen X and millennials are a reflection of the baby boomers. And I say this to say, as much as the baby boomers hope and desire for the Gen Z, X, and millennials to be like them, just as they do not like change, the younger generation also don't like to be told the truth, and they don't want to do things to please anybody. They also are stuck in their ways. And I believe, for me, like personally, I believe children are a reflection of their parents and their upbringing, because they have that phrase that the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Yeah.
So there is no way you're going to like you said, you're planting a seed. You're not gonna go plant a banana and go harvest corn. It will never happen that way. So as you're looking at your children and you're right, sometimes we have those that in psychology or in statistics we call them outliers. Like no matter what you do, they're just going to be the odd ones. Like you can never get them to be right, no matter what formula or what ways you put them through. But the average person is a reflection of whoever trained them and the home that they are coming from. So if we are really looking at Gen X, Gen Z, millennials, but especially Gen X and Z, that we don't like what they're doing and how they are, I believe that the millennials and baby boomers need to start taking a look at what they are doing as well in their homes.
What I wanted to say, just a little, you see,
Okay.
the psychologist said your personality is made out of your education, your hereditary, and your environment. I see the Gen Z and the Gen X, the environment. Maybe when we talk about the hereditary is where they're coming from, which is normal. The bloodline you're equally like. If sometimes your father is very stubborn in nature, and maybe you have that characteristic. But their education, where they are raised, and the environment where they hang out with.
Nature and nurture.
That one is not. Sometimes most of them is not in the house. So those two things is where the problem is.
That's about where they're educated. That's why I say
The
it's a
education,
reflection.
that's both
Because
formal and
the education, the formal and informal, it is the parent that decide or determines where they want to educate their children. There are parents here in America that says that, okay, the school systems are so corrupt, I'm gonna just homeschool my child.
some are educating themselves on social media.
That's again comes down to the parents. Like we have so many parents that are allowing the phones, the screens to raise their children.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's the parent that's making that decision.
decision,
So when the child and this is gonna be another topic as you have those. Sometimes you have to talk longer than we expect to because the conversation is absolutely necessary. But I mean, you look at like generations today, like children are not even wanting to step outside because all they want to do is just sit in front of the screen. They are glued to the screen. There are children that will, like, if care is not taken, some will not eat, some will not take a bath, some will not groom themselves. Even if there is a fire, they'd rather sit in front of the screen. Some that play video games, like they would rather socialize with people virtually than interact with human beings life to life. And most parents are allowing that to fly. Like people have
I think that area we have to look at it, but because one thing is that it's not even the children who are playing the video game. The mother is on phone, the father is on phone. So
Exactly.
there's everybody is busy.
So at the end of the
Just
day,
meet together
yeah,
at the table where they are eating.
it will not happen.
Nowadays, you barely see children like playing outside anymore.
They don't.
It's very, very limited.
They don't.
That's a
And at the end of the day, if these children turn out bad, parents will say, "Oh, it's the social media."
So they become,
No.
so they become the computer children.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right. So at least we all three generations agree that social media and parenting is very important.
Yes.
The result of your child is as what the decisions you made for them in their younger and vulnerable stages. So that we will agree. But we also like to tell baby boomers loosen up a little bit and and accept that sometimes we must make change. We must evolve as well because life evolves.
Listen,
No, and then younger
It
generation.
depends. It depends on what you want them to
This is
change.
a good example. Accept.
A
They will
prime
not.
example. And then they will want to come and argue again.
There are some things that it's easy for them to change from. There are some
But
things
they will
also,
not.
there are some things also they will never change. For them
Why are
to
you
really
saying
change,
they? You are part of that
that's
generation.
what
And we will never.
look at me. There's something it's easy
For us.
for us. Leave it. There's some things also it's not going to be easy. Look at me, because we are flexible. That's why we have been able to relocate to another country.
No,
That's no
look,
question. Like,
even after the relocation,
That tells you
adopting the north.
Look at me. Go to Africa. Apart from maybe South Africa, there's no winter anywhere. But for them to relocate, it tells you that they'll be able to adjust.
no, that's no.
That is not the only change.
No, that's not the
not
only
the change we are talking about.
Mentality, mental change.
He's trying to say that the mental change is not easy, so they will not do it. But the climate change, they will adjust to the.
Once you change a climate change, there's already a mental change of that.
No.
No, because let me tell you, when you wait, when you come here now, let's say we are here around 4, it's almost 5 p.m. You're supposed to sleep. They're supposed to sleep, but they are not sleeping. Okay, it's a mental change. But there are things that this generation want them to change, which it is a virtue that they have really, some of them have stayed with. Like the typical example, who to marry. Okay, like us, our generation, we believe that maybe we still have to marry from our background. And it's in scripture. It's biblical. It happened to Abraham. He said, go back to my roots. But this generation said no. And that's why look at the statistics and what this generation are doing. Ask yourself, much as we are giving, some people are doing, is it working? It's not working. The results, man.
I think we just have to accept. We just have to accept that.
Yeah.
Never accept change.
No,
They can't.
Like
Just because you move like from
You
a
know-
different location
is it
doesn't
not a
mean
change?
it's
that
a
is not
change.
all the change
Because
funds.
sometimes
No,
a lot of
listen.
them
So
will
you are saying
bring
there's a
that same
change,
culture
but it's not all.
and that same like mentality to another.
There's a change.
No, it's not. It's
It's
just
a
movement.
change completely. Now let me
It's
tell you
just
something.
migrating.
Stop. No,
Birds migrate, but they're
you are
still the
just,
same.
you know what? You're just swapping where it's a change. It's a change of location.
Yeah, it's just
Whether
because.
migration, whether
Yeah, it's a change of location, but that
So-
doesn't mean it's a change of like
it affects your
their
mental faculty.
personality.
Please,
True.
let me,
Pastor.
Pastor, let me read this for you. 'Cause I
Diet.
think that will help you.
How did we get to
Many
diet?
said that, please, let's have grace for our baby boomers. They went through a lot. Let's keep them in prayers. God can change any situation. Let's work with them and come to a compromise. I think at the end of the day,
Now,
you know,
pray for this generation. This generation,
that,
prayer.
there is no argument
Then,
about
then
that.
apart from that also,
Yeah.
then apart from that, the issue of God fearing in our generation was that it's not like that.
Yeah.
You see, the issue of God fearing.
Mhm.
Do you understand? But this generation is not like that.
It's really not.
Mm-mm.
It's really, we'll give you that, Pastor.
So we know that there's some problem. I mean, you can't be 100 perfect.
No,
100%
100% perfect.
100, that's why it cannot be. I know that my generation and the older generation, there's some lot of excesses. I agree.
Mhm.
I can never say they're perfect. No. But I'm saying looking into our generation and up our resources
Mhm.
is the best than this generation.
Mhm.
Mm.
Many said yes.
Why
And
you
we
say
need to pray for ourselves.
It's the best, but
look at me, you're producing
Pastor,
the result?
the best is the millennials.
yeah.
Let me give you an example. Bible said, honor your father and mother so that your days
And then
are long enough. I'm coming
after that,
Look at long life.
no, after that, you didn't finish the whole verse.
Do
They
that.
never finished the And then after it says,
Uh-huh.
Parents, do not provoke
provoke
your
your children
children's anger.
to anger. Yeah.
They don't ever want
You
to add that
to
one.
anger.
Okay, Pastor and Amma, you guys are going to explain.
I'm
It's
coming.
okay.
You
The
still have
context.
promise.
No,
But I
it's
always have promise.
it's the context.
No,
You have
no,
to look
not
at
the
the
context.
verse
Go back to
as
the
the
Bible.
one.
All
Always have
right.
promise.
Thank you for joining us
So
live.
that your days may
Example.
Thank you
Example.
for joining us live. For we need to talk.
So what I wanted to say is long life is in a generation where honor.
We're never leaving.
This conversation is gonna be ongoing. I think you know one thing. I think when we start looking at life through the lenses of the individuals we're dealing with, it makes life very simple and easy because now we know. As the Eric sitting here, you can never say something about baby boomers that needs to be corrected or edited that they will accept.
Yeah.
And so we will never just get to that point. We will just pray for them that baby boomers will get that
Pray
understanding.
for us.
Well, yeah, you're our parents. We have to pray for you guys.
Pray for us. Adjust and follow ourselves.
You see,
But we have to pray for you because you see, when you
yes,
read,
that one there,
let me
you
tell
have
when
to
you
pray for
read
us.
Hebrews chapter 7, verse 7, it said the lesser is blessed by the greater. So you can pray for us.
So you're saying
And
we're
it says
lesser?
that the later will be mightier than the former. Is that not what it says?
No. It's your glory.
No.
Which one? What did you
It's
say?
okay. It's okay. You know,
He's not acknowledging the other parts of the verse.
one other thing that I've come to learn about baby boomers, I'm not on you guys' paper, is that when they're quoting scriptures, they take half of it.
No, you got the scripture.
No,
No.
they will never
You
finish
didn't
the
quote the scripture.
Hebrews chapter 7,
It's
verse
okay.
7,
So,
it says
see,
the lesser is blessed by the greater. So what I'm saying is
The next part.
there's no
it's okay. Let him.
There's seats.
It's okay.
There's no
Let me.
somebody can put it there. That's right there.
Chapter
Is
7,
it-
verse 8.
So it's okay. Go.
I read.
Also,
Okay.
Eradi crack can hear.
Okay.
Oh God.
Today it was, I really enjoyed myself talking to baby boomers and Gen X and Z. Next week we'll continue the conversation, and I'm sure that we're going to learn more. Please remember to subscribe to the channel if you've not done so, and hit the notification button so you will be notified when we go live and when there are new shows uploaded. And remember to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Owusuwa TV. Again, it's Owusuwa TV. So see you next week. Thank you, Pastor and Amma. I wouldn't let you guys give your
You're
last
welcome.
sentiments because that will be another whole show by
Yeah, I know.
itself.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. We really enjoyed.
Yeah, thank you for
We're
having us.
praying for this generation. That
And
God
we're
Your
praying for the
generation
baby
too.
boomer generation too. Heavy on that.
Right. Praying for this generation that
And we're praying for the baby boomers.
then also they'll have the mindset of leaving a legacy for their generation, and they'll walk in God fearing, and that's it.
Okay. Thank you, Pastor. You know. Oh,